Hello, my name is Terry McVenis, and I'm honored to serve as the President and CEO of RTCA. RTCA has a tremendously rich history, having served the aviation community with distinction and effectiveness since 1935, with a focus on standards development, collective decision-making, and consensus building. We're continuing to evolve our organization for the new and emerging trends in aviation, empowering innovation through collaboration, and building upon our legacy and reputation for accomplishment. Towards that goal, we are excited to expand our associations with other organizations, with government and industry partners so that we can best serve the entire aviation community. So today, I'm really pleased to have with me one of the newest members of the RTCA family, Mr. Julian Thomson, business leader and project manager for performance software, headquartered in Phoenix, Arizona. Julian, welcome to RTCA.
Thank you, Terry. It's great to be here. Really appreciate it.
So, Julian, tell us a little bit more about performance software, an introduction, if you will, about some of your products and your services.
Excellent. So, Terry, we've been around over 20 years. Our initial focus is engineering services for aviation industry. Our platform is the development of avionics systems, system through certification. We build on the, ARP 4754, and then down the line of RTCA standards, 254 hardware, 178 software, and DO200 on the data side. So that's kind of our process world. Customers, avionics, OEMs, the big names, you know who they are. And I'll talk in a little bit about how we are moving into some, new areas like the rest of our industry. From a sort of domain perspective, we cover all the parts of the aircraft from a software perspective. Flight controls, flight management, communication systems, Wi-Fi, cell, satellite, engine and propulsion control systems. We've done, cabin IFE solutions for in-flight entertainment. And the other thing I'm going to talk about a little bit more as we go through here is for 10 years, we've been involved in providing precision navigation data that brings all those systems to life. So, in the FMS world, things like A424 data, airport mapping databases and things like that. So that's kind of our meat and potatoes as a business. We are pivoting and focusing right now into the whole advanced air mobility space. And I'll touch on some more of that in a moment, but we're engaging with new customers, which is wonderful for us because we're getting a diversification, continued diversification. And we're, exploring verticals with a number of different prospects, from autonomous cargo to urban air mobility. And I'm sure a zillion of the RTCA members are playing in that space as well. So we're finding that very exciting. The other thing I want to touch on is, although our sort of DNA is in aircraft, be it all the way from GA up to air transport, the last couple of years we've also moved into the space side of things, and that's really interesting because we've been asked to bring DO178 certification and design experience to help the likes of Mr. Bezos get to human flight and things like that. So we're very excited about that expansion into the space programs as well.
That's great.
Little update there on performance.
Great. Can you give us just a quick story, maybe about a notable achievement that performance software has attained recently?
Yeah, I'd love to. And I'm going to go back to 2005. Performance was a major player with Smith GE in the 787 Dreamliner common computing system. And we had a team of about 50 engineers, and we developed over 50% of all of the platform software on that mission critical piece of the 787. and we're still involved in, the back end support and maintenance of, that incredible aircraft. What's interesting is, for independence reasons, we wrote a lot of software, and the verification of our software was handed to another party who spent a year, messed it up, raised their hand and said, we really don't know what we've done here. And our client gave it back to us, said, hey, you guys create an independence within your organization and get this verification done, which we did in 3 months, a quarter of the time it took for the other guys to mess things up. So this is sort of the culture of performance where we're milestone and schedule oriented, we're zero rework oriented. That's a really important element when it comes to the cost containment side of the business model. We're very proud of that. And of course, we leverage that in our discussions with potential clients as well. The other angle there is our culture of innovation. So the CCS system in a 787 Dreamliner is not $10.50, as you know. It's a very expensive piece of hardware. And so a team of 50 engineers, we got a couple of systems to do all of our development and testing. We said, that's not going to cut it. So our guys innovated and developed a hardware emulation of the CCS system so we could clone as many systems as we wanted to do our testing. So that's the other element of performance is we scratch our heads, we say, we've got a problem here. We apply our innovation, we come up with solutions. And we've taken that innovation into many other places as well. So just to kind of close on the Dreamliner story, a couple of years ago, I burned 500,000 airline miles. And my wife and I flew first class on a Dreamliner over to Europe, which was an incredible experience. And I'm proud to say that the CCS system ran like a charm. So we're pleased about that. So that gives you an idea of performance.
Great. No, and I was looking over your website recently, and I think you probably touched on this a little bit already, but these partnerships that you have with different companies and different organizations are really a big focus of what you do. Can you say a little bit more, just in general, on how those collaborations really drive your business?
Yeah, so, our philosophy to our clients is, hey guys, don't try to do all this yourself. Partner with somebody who's got a depth of experience, partner with somebody who augments your core strategies and let us help you, bring your solutions to market, sooner, faster, faster revenue, all that stuff. That same philosophy applies to our partnering approaches. So, on the supplier facing side of partnerships, we look with that same philosophy of companies that are best in class, really capable. We establish supply partnerships agreements, whether it's in for example, our hardware design studio capability. We've got excellent partners in areas like RF and board design, layout, and all of the piece parts, environmental testing, all the the 160 type stuff. We don't try to do all that ourselves. We bring the best in, and that feeds our system design side of the house. On the data side, in terms of development of navigation data, we have a plethora of raw data suppliers, all the way from the FAA and Eurocontrol and AccuQuick and all these guys that provide the basic data that we then process and certify to DO200 standards, so that that data can be used in in flight deck applications and things like that. So again, on that supplier side, we really have a partnering approach to things. And then on the customer facing side of partnerships, I think recently one example is our partnership with Smart Sky Networks, and those guys, they're doing a couple of amazing things out there in terms of connectivity of aircraft, always on aircraft, right? That's a key infrastructure that we need. And then their cloud platform offering up real-time data that can be pushed in real time across that communications network into the aircraft. So we have partnered with them to take our certified airport mapping, high precision, sub 1 meter airport mapping data, and then make it available for advisory applications on their real-time platform. Fusing that with things like NOTAM, real-time turbulence data, so that you can provide data in flight. You know, an aircraft can go, okay, what's up with my destination airport? And they can pull in data that's got status information, like a runway just closed or a taxiway just closed, or there's terrible turbulence on the approach. So that's early days, but that's an example of us partnering in a space we don't focus in directly with our sales and business development, but working with Smart Sky so that they can take some of our product elsewhere. So we're actually really excited about that one. And I just want to touch on our data for a minute. I use the term high precision, accurate airport mapping data. We are the only sub-meter capable data in the market today. And we have 700 airports globally with this capability. Why does that matter? Because you can use that data to auto taxi, and let's say you go down the autonomous cargo aircraft vertical, our data can control the nose wheel, and that's where we're getting a lot of new interest from some of our pursuits, which is real interesting. So that gives you a sense of the partnership side of
And that technology just seems just awesome to see that get implemented into the future. What do you see in performance software's future, whether it's with that technology or any of the other ones that you're working on today?
Yeah, so I think we're going to see increasing requirements for safety systems, and for environmental systems. So that there's these two, obviously safety and autonomy, safety UAM. That whole thing is a massive challenge for the industry. So you know, our safety critical background is going to feed into engineering services for you know, for those types of systems over the next 10, 15 years as they evolve. So that's a key place for us. Continued diversification across markets. So I touched on that earlier, that you know, heavily we're in the avionics guys, all of them effectively. Our data we're excited about is in the Airbus A220, it's in the Bombardier BizJets, it's on Embraer regionals. We want to get that data in many more platforms with many more operators, because it's time now for that kind of accurate data. And that's the diversification is happening. We'd like to leverage our space presence more and more, and you know, basically grow the company from that perspective in terms of its financials.
Great. So I always have to ask, why did you join RTCA?
So we've been, I would say, selfishly using RTCA capabilities. You know, RTCA, it's a very practical approach to standardization, and it actually enables the aviation industry to build airplanes that stay in the sky and have an incredibly, you know, high safety perspective. So there's a little bit of give back going on. We had a couple of internal meetings on this. And I'd say the second thing that's driving our membership now is what's going to happen in AAM and the whole sort of movement. You know, there's a number of very interesting potential, you know, working groups, you know, helicopter terrain awareness groups, traffic alert and collision groups that we'd like to not only benefit from, but find a place where we can help to contribute and do a little bit of technical leadership. And on that note, one thing we've done this year in our data group is pivot, if you like, from airports to heliport and vertiport mapping. And we're looking to position ourselves as a leader in that space. We're working closely right now with one of the industry's experts in heliport design. Works closely with the FAA, for example. We're developing a DO200 expansion from our perspective that we think is going to be needed for UAM and vertiport. We'd like to flesh that out, work with others in industry, and get some contribution back into an RTCA working group here or there, if that makes sense.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Julian. I really appreciate you taking the time today to be with us. And thank you for joining the RTCA family. Very much appreciated. I've been speaking today with Mr. Julian Thomson from Performance Software, one of our new members of RTCA. If any of you listening are interested in learning more about our standards development work, have any questions about our training, or interested in becoming part of the RTCA family of members so that you too can have a voice in developing aviation standards, please contact us directly through our website at www.rtca.org, or you can always give us a call. Phone number is on our website as well. Thank you for listening.